like the idea that a voice can just go somewhere uninvited, like a dirty thought in a nice, clean mind.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jay back at you, and today we're going to talk about farmers who voted for Trump, fucked around, and found out. And we're going to talk about how a lot of things that Trump is doing right now is hurting the farmers. It's going to cause some of them to go bankrupt. But before we get into any of that, I have a couple videos from farmers I want you to watch, and you'll get a better understanding of what's happening with farmers right now. For the record, in this video, I did not add the little Trump guy dancing, but I also did not remove it because it seems like it kind of fits.
Update on what we figured out with our contract through NRCS. So to give you some backstory, if you haven't watched the previous video, please go out, watch that previous video I've got on there. We are possibly going to lose our farm if NRCS doesn't hold up their contract with us on the EQIP program. So the reason that they're not able to hold up the contract is our EQIP program, which is cost sharing on fences, waters, a well, and some seedings, was funded by the Inflation Reduction Act. Because of the executive orders, there's a pause or a freeze on the funding through the Inflation Reduction Act, and they're not able to pay out on the stuff that we completed or anything going forward. But the issue I have is I've already done a bunch of the work, already paid for the material, already paid for the labor, so I'm out all that cost, and I use my farm operating expenses in order to do those projects, because per contract, I knew that I was going to get cost sharing refunds on the stuff once completed. But now that it's completed, they're saying that they're unable to provide the funds because of the freeze on the Inflation Reduction Act funds. So I reached out to a couple different senators and Congress people. So I reached out to Ann Wagner.
All right, so what he's doing there is he's telling you what he's trying to do to get the situation rectified, which isn't going to happen. But let me break down what's going on. So under the Biden administration, well, let's go back even further. Under the Trump administration, they had done some things that hurt the farmers. Trump did some bailouts, gave them some welfare, and then farmers thought they were for him because he fixed the problem he created. Yeah. But so under the Biden administration, these farmers were really struggling, and they put away this money and said, all right, do upgrades, fix your fences, make your operations run better, and you will be reimbursed from this program for all the upgrades you did to your farm, which makes sense, right? Farmers create the food, grow the food. We need to eat. Kind of makes sense. Well, when Trump and Elon came in, they decided to cut all of that funding, remember? Well, this is some of the funding that they cut. And then lawsuits happen. Federal judge steps in, puts a freeze on Trump and them eliminating these programs. So now all the money is being held, and the Trump administration illegally pulled back this money because Congress already allotted this money, and Congress decides what the spending is, not the president. That's not how it works. There is 3 equal yet important branches of government for a reason, checks and balances, because we're not a dictatorship. Somebody should let Dementia Donnie know this, but here we are. So Trump takes away all of this funding. These farmers had already paid to have these upgrades done, and now they're not getting reimbursed, and they are going to go bankrupt. And this administration doesn't seem to care. And I know I've been screaming it from the rooftops that if people would have read Project 2025, and now they're fucking around and finding out. But here's a video that explains exactly what happened from another farmer. And he's a little nicer than me because he doesn't come from the fuck around and find out crowd.
Also, everybody says in the comments, Project 2025, didn't you read that? That's his platform.
Hey, Skylar, my name's Will Westmoreland, and I'm a farmer down in Southwest Missouri. And I just reach out to you and tell you that I am not an FAFO kind of guy. We probably disagree with each other on everything political, but there's a very specific reason why people are getting upset with you. And I wanted to explain that to you, if you'd be willing to listen to an older guy kind of walk you through the process. Now, I'm not an FAFO guy because I know what's going to happen to poor people, the elderly, children, single moms, and over 250 million people every night around the world that go to bed hungry. American farmer and rancher is run out of business because of Trump's policies. And that's what I want to explain to you tonight if you'll listen to me. I also wanted to let you know I sent you a private message. And if you ever want to get on the phone and you want to talk about the issues that Trump is forwarding that are bad for agriculture, I'd be willing to do that, and I'd be willing to listen to your arguments as well. I also want to let you know that I've been a political consultant for over 30 years. I want to be right up front about that. I do that in addition to farming. And I want you to know a lot of younger people don't know, and I don't mean that in a condescending way, but more of an educational way. A lot of younger people don't know that right-wing talk radio and news, the pundits, the talking heads, and right-wing talk radio, etc., have been working for over 40 years to develop in rural people exactly the kinds of ideas that you have in your head, that all politicians are crooks, that they're all the same, that you can't trust traditional media, that anything you hear that comes out of Washington, D.C. or New York or the New York Times or CBS News, that it's all a lie. And they did this on purpose, and they started with Ronald Reagan. We used to have what's called a fairness doctrine in this country, where if you were a radio station or a television station and you were using the public airwaves to present a message, we had a fairness doctrine where you were required by law to share the other side of the story. And President Ronald Reagan, president when I was in high school and a little bit younger than that, had the fairness doctrine eliminated. He had it taken out of the books. And there was a specific reason for that. It was designed so that organizations like Fox News and right-wing talk radio could start spreading the lie that all mainstream media was bad. Now, this was during the time of Walter Cronkite and Dan Rather, all the other news heads that we had out there that were highly respected. But it was a strategy to make it so that the airwaves no longer had to present an unbiased case. And then these right-wing media sources like Rush Limbaugh and Fox News, etc., began pouring it on to rural America. You can't trust politicians. You can't trust the news. And what they did is they focused on destroying the trust in these institutions so that they could replace it with another institution. And they did that. They replaced it with Fox News. They replaced it with right-wing talk radio. And I can't tell you how many times when I was growing up, when I was your age, I'd walk into a job site or be on a farm and I would hear right-wing talk radio blaring on the radio all day long. And then after they had destroyed our faith in media institutions in rural America, they then turned their guns toward the government itself. And they began building in us a distrust of government organizations. And Skylar, here's the facts, okay? You can look this up on your own, but these are the facts. Rural America uses more welfare than the blue cities do. Rural America needs more help feeding our children. We need more help keeping our hospitals open. And guys like you and I, farmers out there that grow row crops or do agroforestry or raise cattle, we take welfare too. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with that because we can't control the cost of our inputs. We can't control the cost of what we sell our products for. We got to pay for shipping both ways, as Kennedy said. But the reality of the situation is they were able to instill in us the idea that the government money coming to us was okay and was a good thing, but the government money going everywhere else was a scam or a sham or communistic or socialistic, etc. So it reached a fever pitch finally where a lot of rural people, over 70% of rural farmers and ranchers, only believe the Fox Newses and the talk radio. And when they came to you and told you that Trump wasn't going to implement Project 2025 and that he didn't have anything to do with it, you believe that. And you're not alone. All I'm here to tell you is that you were lied to. I'm not asking you to admit you were wrong. I'm not telling you you effed around and found out, because I don't want to see you lose your farm. And if there's anything I can do to help you not lose your farm, I'd be happy to do it. But in the distrust that you built up for government over time, and due to the fact that you didn't think mainstream media was reliable anymore, and you began listening to the news sources that tried to convince you every day that Project 2025 was not a Trump deal, even though many, many people on his campaign worked for Project 2025, they put it together, they helped write it. There was an entire section on agriculture. And in that section on agriculture, they specifically say they're going to cut out programs like this. Then they're going to cut out crop insurance. And Donald Trump is on record, my friend. And Skylar, look this up. Don't take anything I'm telling you at face value. You look it up. That's the difference between me and a lot of people on here. Check what I've said.
Okay, I absolutely love this guy for that because I've been screaming it since the beginning. Read Project 2025 for yourself. You will understand. I've been screaming it from the rooftops that all this information is out there. All you have to do is go look for it and you can find it. So please, like he said, don't take my word for it either. Go look it up. I'm just here to give you the information that you can go look up yourself. And if I'm wrong, come back and call me a fucking liar. I'd be good with that because I do my research, I do my reading, and I understand what's going on with Project 2025, and I wish everybody else would. But I could sit here with the he fucked around and found out, because I am definitely of that group of people. I could sit here with the I told you so's, but that's not going to fix anything. And I could sit here and go off on a tangent and be pissed off like I am in other videos, but it's not worth it. Mr. Westmoreland did a great job of explaining exactly what's happening to farmers that I don't even need to add to that. Just listen to the farmer himself explain what's happening to farmers and how we got here. And I said it before, you were lied to, and it's not your fault you were lied to. But it's time to wake up and realize what's going on and how fucked our country is right now. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate the views. I appreciate the support. If you want, go over on Facebook to Real Talk with Jay. You can follow there. I post stuff on there also. And make sure you check out all the other shows on the channel. They'll greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. One world, one love.
Everything's polluted. The environment, the government, the schools, you name it.
This radio person is the whole problem. Are we going to allow this guy to be heard by anyone who can turn a dial?
You out there? You listening?